As the stage lights lit up at the International Press Conference in London, hundreds of eyes from the media and fans watched the door as director Barbara Broccoli and the studio executives walked out. But no one expected anyone else but the man who would walk out last, the face that would continue the legend, James Bond. And when Sam Heughan appeared, the whole audience exploded. With his elegant black tuxedo, sharp eyes, steady and confident gait, Sam didn't need to say much. His presence, majestic, powerful and charismatic, was the answer to thousands of questions over the years. Who will be the next Bond? Sam Heughan once said, "Everything I have achieved today is due to perseverance, not luck." That statement has never been more true when looking back on his journey, a journey full of challenges, sweat and moments of wanting to give up. Sam first auditioned for the role of James Bond in 2019, after Daniel Craig hinted at his withdrawal. At that time, he was still at the peak of his career with Outlander, a series that brought him worldwide fame. But despite his huge fanbase and ideal appearance, Sam was still eliminated in the first round for being too soft. But instead of giving up, he quietly started a plan, not to be Bond, but to become Bond. He attended a military special forces course, trained physically like a real MI6 officer. He learned to fly planes, scuba dive, and use tactical weapons. He cut down on lighthearted romantic projects, instead choosing edgy, challenging roles that portrayed coldness and determination, like in SAS, Red Notice and Bloodshot. In addition, he also cooperated with military charities, visited special training units, and lived with them, not for PR, but to understand. Many people thought he was pretending, but for Sam, it was a quiet preparation, a way of showing respect for the James Bond icon, and himself. 4 years later, when Daniel Craig officially retired from the role, the list of potential candidates was buzzing. Sam Heughan's name was brought up again, this time with a completely different aura. People no longer saw him as the elegant Jamie Fraser from the 18th century, but as a modern-day gentleman, one with the classic charm and ruthlessness required of a 007 agent. The audition tapes were leaked online, Sam in a suit, walking down a dark corridor, eyes full of meaning, pulling out a Walther PPK and saying the famous line. The name's Bond, James Bond. The internet went crazy. Fans everywhere started a #Heughan for Bond campaign. The producers couldn't ignore the wave, but then everything went quiet, a month. Then 2 months. Then half a year. No one knew what was happening. Sam was still in public, still cheerful, still secretive. But his best friend revealed, there were nights when Sam would sit alone for hours, not saying a word. He wasn't worried about his reputation, he was worried about missing out on what he had lived for all these years. Finally, on a foggy July morning, Sam's phone rang. Barbara Broccoli. The call lasted less than a minute. 3 words. You got it. He was speechless. His heart was on fire, but his face was wet with sweat, not from fear, but from emotion. A long journey had come to a worthy end. At today's press conference, Sam took the microphone, looking at the audience with sincere eyes. James Bond is not my dream. It is a promise to myself, that if I am determined enough, serious enough, and humble enough to learn, then all my efforts will be rewarded. I know I am not a safe choice. I know there will be controversy, there will be criticism. But I will give everything I have, not just to play James Bond, but to live up to the spirit of this icon. The audience stood up and applauded. Many burst into tears. A week later, the first images from the set were released. Sam in a black Aston Martin, speeding through the Egyptian desert. He is no longer an actor trying to be a spy. He is a spy. When the first trailer was released, Empire magazine wrote, Sam Heughan doesn't just fit into the James Bond suit, he was born to wear it. And Daniel Craig himself, the man who preceded him, posted his congratulations. No one deserves it more. Welcome to the world of Bond, Sam, amidst the flash and the glitter, Sam Heughan still keeps the same simple smile as the first day. He still works out every morning, still drives himself to the set, still texts his mother every night. Because, even though he has become an icon, he is still Sam, the boy from the Scottish countryside, who walked dozens of kilometers every day just to go to drama school, who shed tears after every failure, and who never stopped believing in himself. And now, when the light shines on the big screen, people not only see a new James Bond, but also see a story of faith, perseverance and a sweet outcome for those who dare to pursue their dreams with all their hearts. The name's Bond, James Bond, and this time, it is Sam Heughan. That evening, after leaving the bustling press conference, Sam Heughan did not return to the luxury hotel or attend the after-party. He drove alone along the banks of the Thames, his suit still smelling of the familiar scent of sandalwood cologne, but his heart was strangely quiet and peaceful. He stopped at an ancient bridge, the place where he had stood 10 years ago, just days after being rejected from his first James Bond audition. Back then, Sam was just a struggling TV actor struggling with rising fame but confined to a single image. He had stood on this very bridge, looking down at the cold black water, and wondered, will I ever really reach my dream? Now, he had not only reached it, he had embraced it. In his hand was a small printout of the letter he had written to himself that year. The ink had faded, but the words remained. If one day you forget why you started, remember your dream of becoming Bond. Not to be famous, but to prove that character can overcome all prejudice. Sam smiled softly. The night wind caressed his hair. A warm feeling spread through him, not from fame, but from accomplishment. A sense of belonging. The first day on the set of the new Bond film, tentatively titled Eclipse Protocol, took place at an abandoned military base in Iceland. Sam arrived first. He had no entourage or stylist. Just a backpack and no makeup. Director Cary Joji Fukunaga, who returned to the director's chair after the success of No Time to Die, shook his hand firmly. I don't need to direct much. You have Bond in your blood. First shot. Bond walks silently through the rubble, step by step toward the enemy. No music, no special effects. Just the look that made Jamie Fraser so iconic. The camera rolls. All is quiet. When the director calls, cut, the entire crew applauds. Sam says nothing. He just nods, in true Bond fashion, and heads straight for the silver repainted classic car. Perfect in every detail. In the days that follow, Sam works tirelessly. He is the first to arrive, the last to leave. He does not shy away from dangerous action, and does not ask for a stunt double unless absolutely necessary. Once, when he jumps from a roof onto the ice without warning, the entire set panics. But he just smiles and says, Bond will not wait for the director to call action. His dedication is contagious. The crew, from the cameramen to the prop masters, all look up to him as a model. The atmosphere on set was different. This was not just a movie, it was a mission, true to the 007 spirit. Off-set, Sam remained discreet. He refused sensational interviews. He did not use the Bond role to show off or create a different image. He still spent time with the My Peak Challenge charity, still called his mother every night after filming, still occasionally posted simple photos, a cup of coffee, a book, or a Scottish sunset. Fans loved him not just because he was Bond, but because he was still himself. A man of integrity, determination and humility. An article in The Guardian wrote, Sam Heughan is James Bond not just because he deserves to be, but because he reminds us why this icon exists. To remind the world that amidst the darkness and danger, there are those who never give up. The day the trailer was officially released, the whole world seemed to hold its breath. The first image that appears is of Sam standing in the snow, alone facing an armed army. Nothing, just a look that can kill, and when his voice rings out, I never needed luck. Just time. The audience explodes. A simple sentence, but containing a journey of blood, sweat, tears and unwavering faith. And that is Sam Heughan, a man who has spent a decade preparing for a single moment. And when that moment comes, he doesn't just step into the role of James Bond. He becomes Bond. Not because he was chosen, but because he deserved it.